She tried to sabotage my future by faking a second application and planting drugs in my room. But when her son secretly gave me the evidence I needed, I exposed everything in front of a full courtroom. When I won the scholarship, my stepmom looked at me like I'd just confessed to murder. I stood there in our cramped kitchen, holding the official letter in my shaking hands, still wearing the uniform from my shift at the diner. My heart was pounding with pride, nerves, and, God help me, hope. But Cheryl just froze. Then she dropped her coffee mug. It shattered. She didn't even flinch. My dad rushed in from the living room. What the hell happened? She got it, Cheryl whispered, eyes wide, voice flat. She actually got it. I blinked. Wait, that's a good thing, right? But the look they shared said otherwise. Let me back up. I'm Monica, 17, and I live with my dad and my stepmom, Cheryl. My mom passed away when I was 7. Cheryl married my dad the year after and brought along her son, Noah. He was 4 back then. I raised him more than she ever did. Cheryl's always been good at appearances. Clean house, polite smile, PTA meetings. But behind closed doors, I was treated like the permanent reminder that Dad had a life before her. Noah, on the other hand, was her little prince. He could break a window and she'd say it was just curiosity. I once got grounded for breathing too loud while she was on the phone. I didn't complain. I studied. I cleaned. I saved up by working double shifts. I told myself if I just worked hard enough, I'd earn their respect. Their love, maybe. The scholarship was supposed to be my way out. Full ride to a top program through a nonprofit for low-income youth. I hadn't even told anyone I'd applied because I was sure I'd jinx it. But I did it. I got in. I won. And that's when everything collapsed. Back in the kitchen, my dad snatched the letter from my hands like it might bite him. His eyes scanned it quickly, then narrowed. Is this a joke? He snapped. No, I applied months ago. I didn't think I'd actually... You applied behind our backs, Cheryl interrupted. I stared at her. What are you talking about? You told me I wasn't college material, and that it was better I just find full-time work. So you forged this? She said, holding up the letter like it was contaminated. Or stole someone's essay, maybe from Noah's files. That stopped me cold. Noah didn't even apply. But he could have, she snapped. You know how smart he is. You probably just got lucky because of your sob story. Dad muttered, I should have locked the damn office. I couldn't breathe. You really think I cheated? Neither of them answered. Noah walked in just then, hair tousled from sleep, and asked what was going on. Cheryl turned to him, suddenly soft. Baby, it's nothing, just a little mix-up. But I saw it in her eyes. Panic and guilt. Something worse. Fear. Like she'd lost control of something she never meant to let go. That night, I heard them arguing behind closed doors. My name kept coming up. I pressed my ear to the wall. She's not staying here if she's going to make us look bad, Cheryl hissed. You're overreacting, my dad said, but his voice was weak. It's just a scholarship. No, it's a problem, a big one. That letter had our address. If people come snooping, what if they find out? Her voice dropped lower, and I couldn't make out the rest. My heart was racing. The next morning, my dad handed me a garbage bag with some of my clothes and said, You should stay at Aunt Vivian's for a while. What? Why? Just until things calm down. There's nothing to calm down. But he didn't look at me. Not once. By the time I got to Aunt Vivian's, I was too numb to cry. I handed her the letter and told her everything. She read it carefully, then looked up and said something I'll never forget. Monica, do you have any idea what Cheryl's been hiding from you? I shook my head, confused. She opened her laptop, typed something, then turned the screen toward me. And what I saw made my stomach twist, because it wasn't just me they were trying to erase. It was my entire story. On Aunt Vivian's laptop screen was a scanned document. It had my name, date of birth, and part of my essay, but the content was completely different. Sloppy grammar, weird formatting, and a paragraph copied word for word from an article I'd read online months ago. At the top was the header: Alternative application, Monica Sanders. Submitted 2 days before the actual deadline. I blinked at the screen, confused. What is this? Vivian's face was tight. It's what your stepmother sent to the foundation behind your back. I didn't understand. That's not my application. Mine had different references, and I never used that email address. I know, she said gently, but the admissions committee received 2 applications from you. One was strong, professional. The other, this one, was riddled with red flags. They flagged it for possible fraud and almost disqualified both. I sat back like I'd been punched in the chest. She tried to sabotage me, I whispered. She actually went that far. Vivian nodded. I have a friend on the scholarship board. She reached out when she saw your name come up in an internal review. Said it didn't make sense. Your recommendation letters were stellar, but this second file threw everything into question. The room felt like it was closing in. Wait, is that why Cheryl flipped out when I got the letter? She thought they'd use the fake one? She didn't expect the real application to go through at all, Vivian said. She thought she'd buried it. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking. All this time I thought I was just being dramatic, I said. That maybe I was too sensitive, too eager to be accepted. But she actually forged documents to destroy me. Vivian reached over and squeezed my hand. You're not crazy, sweetheart. You've just been made to believe you are. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying everything. How Cheryl used to lose my permission slips. How she said my writing sounded too advanced and accused me of getting help. How Dad would never make eye contact when I mentioned college. They'd been setting this up for years. The next morning, Vivian made pancakes like nothing had happened, but I couldn't eat. My stomach was in knots. Halfway through breakfast, she said, Noah called. I froze. What did he say? He wants to meet. Says it's urgent. He wouldn't tell me more. I stared at my plate. I hadn't spoken to Noah since the day I was kicked out. I didn't even know if he believed their version of events. He asked for you, Vivian added. Not your dad. Not Cheryl. That afternoon, we met at a tiny coffee shop near his school. He was already sitting by the window, hoodie pulled over his head, eyes darting around like he was afraid someone would follow him. When he saw me, he stood up too fast, knocking his chair into the wall. Sorry, he muttered. Thanks for coming. I sat across from him. Why did you want to meet? He looked around again, then leaned in. You were right, about everything. I didn't say anything. I just waited. Noah pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, and turned it toward me. It was a photo of an email Cheryl had sent from our home computer. The subject line read, Application Sabotage, Draft. In the body, she had written notes about submitting an inferior copy to invalidate Monica's submission, and included links to a few plagiarism checker sites. I stared at it, my throat dry. She asked me to send it from school, Noah whispered. Said she needed it to look like it came from your IP address. I thought it was just a test, or some weird paperwork thing. But now I know. My voice was barely audible. Why are you showing me this now? Because... He swallowed hard. Because I found something else. And I think she's planning to use it. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small, flat envelope. Inside were 2 Polaroid photos of my bedroom, one with a small Ziploc bag hidden behind a drawer, the other with what looked like a bottle of pills under my bed. I jerked back. What is this? I think she planted it, Noah said, voice shaking. She's going to accuse you of something. Maybe get the foundation to pull the scholarship, or worse. My chest felt like it was caving in. Why would she do that now? I'm already gone. Noah looked terrified. Because she heard you're staying with Vivian, and she thinks you're talking. My mouth went dry. Talking to who? He hesitated, then whispered, To the lawyer. That's when it hit me. Cheryl wasn't trying to erase my future. She was trying to destroy my credibility completely, before I could destroy hers. I don't know what scared me more. Seeing those photos of the planted drugs, or realizing that Cheryl had probably been planning this for a long time. She wasn't just trying to ruin my future. She was building a version of me that didn't exist, one she could hand to anyone who asked, polished and poisoned. A version where I was the problem, not her. When I got back to Aunt Vivian's, I was shaking. She saw the envelope in my hand, took one look at my face, and dropped everything she was doing. "What did she do now?" she asked. I placed the Polaroids on the kitchen table. She went quiet, picked one up, then the other. "Where did these come from?" "Noah," I said. "He said she was getting ready to use them against me. Maybe to say I've been hiding things. Or that I'm unstable." Vivian swore under her breath. "She's escalating. She knows we're closing in." That night, Vivian contacted her lawyer friend, and by morning, we had a plan. We'd submit a formal complaint to the Scholarship Foundation, not just with Noah's photo proof, but also the digital metadata that could be traced back to Cheryl's accounts. Except, when I texted Noah to ask for the original email file from Cheryl's draft inbox, the message didn't go through. Just a little gray check mark, not delivered. I tried again. And again. By noon, I called him. Straight to voicemail. Vivian called his school. No answer. We tried his personal email. Nothing. He'd vanished. "This doesn't make sense," I said, pacing the living room. "He wouldn't just ghost me, not after everything." Vivian's face was pale. "What if Cheryl found out he talked to you?" My heart dropped. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I logged onto Facebook, searched Cheryl's profile. She had posted a smiling photo of Noah in front of a building I didn't recognize with the caption, "So proud of our Noah for joining Westfield Academy's leadership program. New chapter begins." Westfield Academy. That name made my stomach clench. It was a private boarding school 3 states away. Strict, isolated, limited communication. Parents sent kids there when they wanted discipline. They'd shipped him away. Vivian's eyes widened when she saw the post. "Oh, she's not just scared. She's panicking. She's cutting him off from me," I whispered. "From everyone." We spent the next few hours trying to contact the school. Voicemails, emails, no replies. Privacy policies, legal guardianship barriers. They wouldn't confirm if Noah was even enrolled. It felt like trying to find someone who'd been buried alive. That night, I sat on the floor of Vivian's guest room, knees hugged to my chest, trying to hold myself together. I had never felt so powerless, so small. Every time I tried to fight back, Cheryl was 10 steps ahead. She was always prepared, always perfect on the outside. PTA, Cheryl. Volunteer, Cheryl. But inside, she was cold, calculated. And then, around 1 a.m., there was a knock at the door. Vivian was already asleep. I crept downstairs and peeked through the peephole. It was a teenage boy I didn't recognize. He was holding a backpack and shifting from foot to foot like he was about to bolt. I opened the door just a crack. "Can I help you?" His voice was low, hurried. "I'm Dakota. I'm Noah's roommate." My breath caught. He looked behind him, then back at me. "I'm visiting family nearby. Noah begged me to come find you. He's not allowed to contact anyone outside, but he managed to sneak me something." He pulled a small flash drive out of his jacket pocket. He said it's everything. I took it, hands trembling. "Tell him I'm okay," Dakota added, "and that I believe him now." Then he ran. I shut the door, locked it, and practically sprinted to Vivian's office, plugged in the flash drive, typed the password, our shared childhood dog's name. I could barely breathe. There were dozens of files, screenshots, photos, audio recordings. One folder labeled Journal Start Here. I opened the first entry. April 12th. I overheard Cheryl saying Monica was too close to getting out, that she needed to fail publicly. I don't know what that means, but I feel sick. I think she's going to do something, and I think it's my fault. I kept reading. His notes detailed everything, how Cheryl faked emails, manipulated Dad, even bribed a counselor at school to keep Monica's behavior on record. There were photos of text messages, voice clips of Cheryl whispering instructions to someone named Ms. Halberd. I paused. Ms. Halberd was my high school guidance counselor. She had written my main letter of recommendation, and according to the files, she'd been helping Cheryl sabotage me for months. I sat in the dark with only the glow of the computer screen lighting the room. My hands were clenched in my lap, shaking, not from fear this time, but from the kind of cold, focused rage you only feel when you've seen the truth spelled out in someone else's words. Noah's journal entries were detailed, painful, and damning. He had documented everything, from Cheryl's plan to frame me for drug possession, to her coordinated emails with my high school guidance counselor, Ms. Halberd, discussing how to undermine Monica's college trajectory in a way that won't raise suspicion. That was her actual phrasing. There were audio files, too. I clicked on the first one and heard Cheryl's voice, low and calm, like she was discussing weekend brunch. It's not that I don't want her to succeed. I just think success should look different for someone like her. A more humble life. Noah will carry the family name. Monica's presence threatens that. She was always too loud, too smart, too visible. Too visible. I could barely sit still. By morning, I wasn't just angry. I was done hiding. Vivian called Susan, her lawyer friend, and we put together a plan. We weren't just going to defend my name anymore. We were going to expose everything. We compiled every piece of digital evidence, screenshots, emails, Noah's journal entries, and those recordings. Then we backed it all up, multiple times. USBs, cloud storage, even printed hard copies. I wasn't taking any chances. Then we reached out to the scholarship committee, not through the general email. Vivian knew someone on the board, and we secured a private Zoom meeting that Friday. I didn't sleep the night before. I kept seeing Cheryl's smug face, kept hearing her tell people I didn't have what it takes. The committee chair, a woman named Dr. Kim, listened carefully as I shared everything. I told them about the forged application, the false allegations, the planted evidence. When we played the audio recordings, her face went completely still. By the end of the call, she said one sentence that nearly broke me. "Monica, I am so sorry we failed to protect you." She promised to launch a formal investigation into the people who tried to sabotage my award. I thanked her, but I wasn't done yet. Because there was still one person I needed answers from, Ms. Halberd. She was the one person I'd trusted most at school. She wrote my recommendation letter. She encouraged me to apply for the scholarship. And now I had hard proof that she'd been working with Cheryl behind my back, sending updates about my academic progress, flagging me for suspicious behavior, even suggesting that I lacked emotional maturity for a college environment. It took everything I had not to scream. I scheduled a meeting with her at school under the pretense of discussing college withdrawal options. Vivian came with me and waited in the hallway. When I stepped into the office, Ms. Halberd greeted me with her usual warm smile, like nothing had happened. "Monica, I've been meaning to check in on you. I heard things have been complicated." I sat across from her, staring. "Do you want to explain this?" I asked, placing a copy of one of her emails on her desk. The subject line read, "Undermining Monica's application pathway." Her face went pale. "Where did you get this?" "That doesn't matter. What matters is that you knew. You helped. You could have stopped it, and instead, you chose to collaborate." She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Just silence. "I've already spoken to the scholarship committee," I said. "They have everything, and now so does the district office." She blinked, stunned. "You betrayed me," I said, "and you're going to answer for it." I turned and walked out without another word. Vivian stood waiting by the lockers, her expression unreadable. "How'd it go?" "She didn't deny a single thing," I said. "She looked like a ghost." That night, I thought nothing else could surprise me, until I got a message request from someone I hadn't heard from in over a year. My mom. The notification just sat there on my screen, taunting me. Her name, her profile picture, And the first line of the message: "I've been watching everything. And there's something I never told you about Cheryl." I didn't open my mother's message right away. I stared at the screen for a long time, heart pounding, every memory of her crashing into me at once. She'd left when I was 9. No note, no explanation, just gone. And now, out of nowhere, she wanted to talk about Cheryl? I finally clicked it open. "I've been watching from a distance. I didn't think you'd ever need me again, but I was wrong. Cheryl wasn't just cruel, she was calculating. And I think you deserve to know why." She attached an old scanned document. It was a prenup between her and my father. It clearly stated that any child from the original marriage, me, would be entitled to half of any educational trust set up for future dependents, regardless of whether the parents remained married. And that's when it all clicked. Cheryl hadn't been trying to sabotage me just out of jealousy or resentment. She was protecting Noah's future by erasing mine. If I succeeded, I had a legal claim to half the trust their family had quietly built for Noah's private schooling, his college plans, even his business startup fund. But if I looked unstable, unworthy, troubled enough to lose everything, that trust stayed right where she wanted it. The next morning, I called Susan. By that evening, we'd filed a motion to re-examine the use of the educational trust, submitting the prenup, the digital evidence, and the audio recordings of Cheryl openly referring to protecting what belongs to Noah. The court date was set 2 weeks later. I wasn't sure if my dad would show up, but he did. He sat at the far end of the bench, eyes sunken, tie loose. Cheryl wasn't next to him. Instead, she sat with her lawyer across the aisle, flipping through paperwork like it was any other day. I couldn't believe how calm she looked, as if none of this could touch her, until the recording started playing. The room was silent as Cheryl's own voice echoed off the courtroom walls. "She was always too smart, too eager. We have to clip her wings now, or she'll fly right through everything we've planned for Noah." Her face dropped. The color drained from her cheeks. Her lawyer started whispering urgently in her ear, but it was too late. We laid out the timeline, the forged application, the planted evidence, the tampered recommendation letters, the counselor's cooperation, and finally, the attempt to have me discredited before any legal claim could be made to the trust. The judge took it all in, his brow furrowing deeper with each piece of testimony. Finally, after nearly 4 hours, he delivered the ruling. He declared the trust frozen and subject to full audit, all educational decisions and expenditures to be reviewed by an independent financial guardian. Cheryl's involvement in fraudulent academic interference was noted for potential civil liability. The court also granted a protective order against any further contact from Cheryl, permanently. As for my father, the judge looked him in the eye and said, "You enabled this, and your silence speaks volumes. But Monica no longer has to suffer for your weakness." He didn't even lift his head. Outside the courtroom, I expected to feel relief. But what I felt was heavier, not sadness, not anger, closure. Vivian hugged me tightly. "It's over," she whispered. "No," I said. "It's finally beginning." That fall, I moved into campus housing at my new university. Not the one Cheryl tried to take from me, but the one I chose, with full financial aid, and my name cleared. Noah wrote me a letter from Westfield. He's doing okay. He says it's strict but peaceful. He's in therapy now, trying to untangle who he is without Cheryl's voice in his head. As for my mom, we're slowly talking. Carefully, cautiously. I'm not ready to forgive everything, but I'm open to understanding. And Cheryl? From what I heard, she's being sued by the school board for ethical violations tied to her manipulation of Ms. Halberd. She lost most of her reputation overnight. Social media found the recordings, and let's just say, people don't forget easily. People always talk about revenge like it's dramatic, loud, explosive. But the best kind is quiet, legal, permanent. Sometimes justice doesn't scream. It signs paperwork. If you've ever felt like no one would believe your side of the story, drop a 2 in the comments. You're not alone. And if you're still fighting, keep going. We see you. And if this story hit you in the gut the way it hit me living it, don't forget to subscribe for more true Reddit stories that matter.